Here we go again. It's back to the Orient Theatre, the theatre of blood, sweat and tears. Courtesy of Last Born Promotions and the KB Promotions, 25th August is the date. It's our return back to the Orient and it's our return back to our boxing. My name is Loyiso Mtya. During my boxing days, they used to call me the Black Messiah. And I'm not alone here. I've got two boxing commentators and analysts, experienced people. On my left, it's Vuyolomzi Mtwekane, and on my right, it's Vuyani Mbinda. Guys, if I say maybe it's back to our good old days in boxing, do you think I'm right?
I think you are spot on, because we are bringing back the talent that this region has produced, and it's gonna be very, very a fire all the way in Orient Theatre this weekend.
Vuyani Mbinda will
Yes.
bring back Azinga Fuzile, our golden boy. Him and us going back to the Orient. What does it mean?
Fuzile, our golden boy, is back with a bang. He is the most talented southpaw that I've ever seen. He's got everything that I may talk about boxing. Let's wait and see when he resuscitates his boxing career back to the world ratings after he falls short in his few previous fights.
And the Orient Theatre being part of the history of boxing in this area where we call, in fact, generally acknowledged nationally and internationally as the mecca of boxing. And the Orient Theatre being one of those venues that every boxer in South Africa dreams of fighting in. It is part of the history of boxing. I think at this stage, before we get to the boxers themselves, can we go to the history of the game, where our boxing started? Because everybody always asks, why are boxers in this area so naturally talented? And the truth is, it is not only about boxing, it is about the ability, the DNA of fighting, because our forefathers were doing sticks fighting. And it was only after we were colonized that now they said the sticks fighting that was like barbaric, the sticks fighting that was brutal and very dangerous, people had to do away with it. And naturally, our people started folding their fists and started boxing. How much can you share with us, Digi, on that?
Wow, Talois, our people in this particular region, East London, started boxing very late. Though they started it very late, the region is sharing a stage with the most successful places in the world. Because this place was never said to be a maker of boxing for nothing. It is the commitment that comes from the trainers, the boxers themselves, and the stables that are here around. East London, in particular, and Tanzania, are not more than 100 years having started boxing, like it is the case with Queenstown. But they have surpassed every area here in South Africa, if not the world.
You're right. You're right, because boxing here, professional boxing, the first fight was in 1965. But by 1970-72, we were already regarded as the mecca of boxing because our people just took it up just like that. And you are right by saying this part of the world in South Africa was the last to take up boxing. After other parts had been in boxing, for instance, like Queenstown had already been in boxing for 30 years. King Williamstown had already been in boxing for like 10 years. What do you think, Vido? What do you think is the reason why once this area started boxing, it just went up like wildfire?
In fact, before it was started, there was no professional body to run boxing. The first professional boxer, Slow Poison Zondo, Cornet Bisto Tunjwa, and the other two, they had to go to Durban in order for them to have licenses. As we have already alluded that the first tournament started in 1965. But immediately after them, there were still uprisings that were coming in the name of Nkosana Happy Point Clutch, Tsietsi Carlos Moritlwane, Mzugisi Wonder Boy Square, and also, I'm sorry to mention you because you are next to me, Loyiso Mtya.
Yeah, you have to.
I have to mention because you were part of that team, of that group. That was the beginning of everything here in East London, Tanzania. When the first boxer to win the South African title was Nkosana Happy Point Clutch in 1972. And then the rest is history. That's why boxing became this kind of thing. It became a religion to all of us. We grew up going to Sisa Dukashi Stadium, which was packed to capacity because of Intandane, that is Nkosana Happy Point.
Before we get there, let's get back to the something that is very important. A lot of people don't know.
Okay.
In terms of, yes, we had boxing in our veins. Our mothers and fathers and our forefathers and foremothers were doing sticks fighting, and fighting came naturally. But something that's not known is that who actually gave us boxing? It is the people who came from Queenstown. They came from Queenstown. They were really musicians. People like Sex Manuel, Majaga, Mzoli Majaga, and a lot of them. Through King Williamstown and here, they started boxing. And at the same time, while they were doing that, there is also this side of the colonizers in terms of who actually now made the ground possible for us to box. And a lot of people don't know, but the people who actually now encouraged everybody, starting from politicians, people who were there calling people imikhabulo and all of that, and then while they were going on with the politics and all of that, they encouraged kids to go to the sports. And rugby people lifted their hands, netball people lifted their hands, and boxing people lifted their hands to say, we are here, we are going to do it. And then there was these people, I'm losing this name, Onongendi. They had the nuns. The nuns were here in East London. There is a history about the nuns. But there was this male, these two males. One was from Ireland, the other was local, who were actually amongst the people who, from work, they would go to the townships and they met our founders of boxing. And this guy, Dugan, who was Irish, started showing them, how do you box? How do you stand in boxing? How do you throw those punches? And then our boxing started like wildfire. That's why it is also very important to actually say, who are these people who started boxing, I've called them, but now locally, it is your Otatu
Gabela.
Gabelana, Eric Gabelana, Tami Novete, Zoli, Matyaga, Chaka, Gidana, and all of those people. And since then, that was the first generation.
Sure.
The generation now that was taken to KZN.
Yes.
And then the second generation, which was like climaxing in our boxing. Yomkaji, myself,
You see,
Tsietsi, and all of that.
well, when
Beautiful.
when you talk about these issues of politics, where blacks during that time were forced to gather in one place because of one thing or another, it reminds me of the Makambi Hall, which is said that it was a place, it was a social hub where musicians used to have their space, body builders used to have their space, and also sports people used to have their space. And that's when people identify the art of boxing. Because in that space of sport, it was divided into boxing, rugby, karate, judo. And some of the karate guys and judo guys had to be swallowed by this art of boxing, because the other ones were starting to shadow box, showing their skills and attracting others. And that's when boxing started to be loved by the people of East London.
Most important.
And I wanted to come to this part. Yeah, you will also touch on that. That's when boxing started. That is when amateur boxing started. That is where you actually specialize in terms of administration in development. And that is also the time our first ever champion, professional or amateur, Cyril Adams, won the South African amateur title. That's when it started. Now, when we talk now about amateur boxing, what does that bring into your mind?
Well, currently, amateur boxing in the province, heavily influenced by this place, is the leading sport national. The Eastern Cape has been a champion for the past 15 years or so in all categories. So it means when this thing was started, people really pressed the right chord. And what is important, Mr Loyiso, about this is that, as you have alluded to, the people of this place support sport, be it rugby, be it netball, be it boxing. So that support has got something to do with the growth of boxing here. Because look at how mad our people were during the time of Heavy Boy Mqachi. You wouldn't talk in Dangen village in East Bank, West Bank, if you are not talking about Simon Sali, you are not talking about Atunza Hondo, you see. So the way we received it when it came, it was kind of a very good way.
Yes.
Yes. But then amateur boxing here is giving a very, very powerful foundation for boxing to continue to dominate here. So even the name amateur these days, it does not really sound well. That is why internationally it has been changed to open boxing. Because even if things are seen to be done in an amateurish way, but the way it is handled, it is not.
I like that, this thing about amateur boxing and open boxing. And I have my own stand on that. But that's a story for another day. As we all know, we took up boxing. Our people, our boxers and all of that took boxing by the scruff of the neck and put it there at the top. But unfortunately, lately, our boxing has gone down. But before we go to boxing at large, but let's get to the amateur boxing. As you know, we are winning every award, every title. Our boxers, amateur boxers, are winning everything when it says national championships or South African championships. But Vido, we don't win medals. We don't win world titles. We don't win Olympic titles. We don't have teams that are good enough that qualify to fight in the Olympics. And even when they did before, your Hawk Makepulas, your Philip Knows, and all of that, they couldn't get even to the quarterfinals. They couldn't fight for bronze. They were beaten in the qualifications. What went wrong? What is wrong with our amateur boxing there?
It's an interesting story, the issue of amateurs, because if I can take you back where South Africa was not allowed to compete internationally because of the apartheid rules. We saw boxing at amateur level on a very serious note that there were a lot of talent amongst those who were in the amateur ranks. But when things changed after 1994, when South Africa was readmitted in the international arena, I believe there were a lot of changes, especially when this AIBA and the Olympic style was introduced, whereby a computerized system was used. That's a technical part of it. We've got the talent. We've got the talent in such that one can take his time and go on Saturday in a place called Igolgotha, Sisonke Boxing Club. You see the love and the passion of our youth with the sport of boxing when they demonstrate their skills. But there, internationally, the style that they are adopting is not the style that is accepted in the Olympic level, whereby in the Olympic level, you have to fight, not showcase your boxing skill, like what they are doing. You will clap your hands the whole day and night if you are watching these boys here. And something very, very, very unique they are doing, which is not the one that is being expected in the Olympic
I
level.
think you've touched it there, Vido. Olympic style boxing. And that is the style we have not yet, I don't know what, not yet studied, not yet practiced, or I don't know. But our boxers, if it's your normal boxing, they don't get beaten there, but they get outscored by the computer. So there is this computerized style of fighting, which is why now our boxers, in fact, they have a problem getting through Africa first to qualify. And then when it comes to world titles, when it comes to Olympic, I'm talking about amateurs, not professionals, because once they turn professional, you've known all through the years we are producing, there is not a single year where South Africa does not have a world champion. Other times we have gone up to 4 or 5. So Mteki, Olympic style fighting. What, in your opinion, is something that we can do to actually improve that?
What is impeding us from getting into that level of getting medals internationally? Or let me not say internationally, let me say in Olympics in particular. Loyiso, our boxers have got role models, young ones, role models who are professional boxers. Ne? And when you have a role model, you copy that style. You'll recall that Happy Boy Mtwekane was everywhere here. Everybody wanted to box like Happy Boy Mtwekane during his time. So now, our amateurs are training in the same stables as with their professional folks.
Yes.
So as a result of that, they learn through participation from those old boxers. As a result, they are more professional in their boxing style. So if we can try and go back to Olympic style boxing, I think we can go back, we can again get to that level, at least of qualifying for Olympics.
Okay.
As well, if you can also get some technical know-how on how to master this Olympic style boxing. That means we are trying to get trainers or coaches that come from those countries where they master the style, especially Cuba. You know, if we can still partner with Cuba in terms of, and also train our coaches. Our coaches, we've got very few, one or two in the Eastern Cape that have got international qualifications.
Yeah, I think
So that is another area.
I think we can. Well, we are in BRICS now politically. We are in BRICS. Maybe now we can call the Russians
Yes.
to come and assist because their basic training, basic fighting standards are up there with the best. Because you just said it, that maybe we've got to change. We've got to differentiate between our amateur boxing and our professional boxing. And our amateur boxing have got to have trainers that know how to train amateurs according to what is needed. Otherwise, we're going to be crying every day while we let our boxers mingle and spar and do everything in the ring. Now, going back now to this week, we have Azinga Fuzile. He's been there as an amateur. And I think you can give us whatever, you can give us his experience. You can give us whatever he's won. And then he turned professional. And he became like shooting like a star, but he dropped. Can you just give us his background first in the amateurs and before we get to what is in this weekend, what can we expect from Azinga Fuzile?
Bralois Azinga came in as young as 12. He started getting into competitions. From the word go, as a young amateur at the cadet level, he was a national champion. He went on to the junior level. He started knocking out, literally knocking out boxers. He had power, immense power. He went on to the youth level, a national champion every year. Whenever he gets into a competition, he comes with gold. At the youth level, he became a national champion again. Was given a chance to go for the Zone 5 championships, which is Southern Africa at the time. He came back with gold. Qualified to go to Youth Commonwealth Games. Even there, he came with a gold. Then he turned 18 and he was taken to professional boxing. You can imagine if he stayed there, we could have had a person who could qualify. And get.
Maybe. Vido, we've seen a lot of these boxers, your Sugar Ray Leonards, your Muhammad Ali's and all of that, turning the amateur achievements into professional achievements. And Azinga Fuzile, okay, let's talk to now our national standards. When he turned professional, he was like a house on fire. Does it usually, or is it automatic? When a boxer has been a star in the amateurs, you know he's going to be a star in the professionals. Or you can answer one of those questions, or you can answer both. Does the amateur experience turn the professional career into a success?
It's also based into our anticipations, because once you become a shining star in amateur rank, we expect you to shine also in professional ranks. It has been the case with other boxing stars, like you mentioned, Aboshuka Ray Leonard and others. But with Azinga Fuzile, we must remember that when he turned professional on the 15th of December 2014, he beat Sibusiso Khumalo on points. And then he remained unbeaten in his 14 professional ranks. In fact, what surprised us here in East London, it's when only in his 5th fight, he beat Makbut Sinyabe, who was a specialist, a knockout specialist with a lot of defenses. I think he defended his SA featherweight title 12 times. Yes. But when he was matched against Azinga, I'm from Tanzania, and Azinga is from Tangen village. And Azinga is one of the boxers that I expected to succeed. But because of that Cold War between Tanzania and Tangen village, I was with Makbut Sinyabe because of his experience and also because of his record. But to our surprise, the Tangen village flag was hosted in that tournament through Azinga Fuzile beating. He beat one of the most classic fighters of his time.
Before Azinga won that title in that short space of fights, had there been anybody before him here to win within 5 fights to win a South African title? We've had some boxers in the world winning by their 4th or 5th world titles, but here, I don't think there was, unless
I don't want to
Not less than 5. I think it was Botile who had, I think, seven
fights. He
Not-
broke
yes.
that record of Potil.
Yes.
Yes, I don't remember anyone who fought for an SA title.
Then there is this that you mentioned, in Tanzania and
rivalry.
Tangen village rivalry. And everybody knows that our boxing here started in Tangen village. Your first 4 or 5 professional boxers, Simon Sali, Lawrence Zondo, Alistair Mahashi, Tony, Stanley, Tony Lambert Tukashe, they were all from Tangen village. And that was before the movement from Tangen village to Mdantsane. And once Mdantsane started its own thing, the first club there was United Boxing Club. And people here were not only now coming from Tangen village, they were also coming from the rural villages. Now that's for political reasons. But truly, there became a rivalry between Mdantsane and Tangen village that is still going on today. And my personal feeling, people have always been saying that there is natural talent here. Yes, there is natural talent here. And people now ask, when you say natural talent, where does it become more natural? Like, who are the better naturally gifted boxers? The ones that are born and bred in Tangen village and the ones that are born and bred in Mdantsane. And when I look at it, well, without actually counting and all of that, I think Tangen village still produces the best talent here when you're talking about raw talent. And now this fight that you are talking about, it was one of those fights that actually divided our people here. Azinga being Tangan Village, Maputo Sinyabi being Mtazane. This is what is going to be happening this weekend.
Okay.
Now let's move from Azinga Fuzile. Let's go to the other fight. Orient Theatre, 25 August, Last One Promotions and KB Promotions. Siyakolwa Kuse, South African mini flyweight champion, Mdanzane, and Makile Malakile Sobolo. Sobolo from Dangan Village. And yes, it is going to go beyond the boxers. It is going to Dangan Village versus Mdanzane. Two very good boys. Dangan Village is the challenger here. Mdanzane is the champion. Without saying who's going to win, who's going to lose, what's your take on the strengths of those boxers? I have the strengths of Siyakolwa Kuse big time. I have the strength of Sobolo, Malaki Sobolo big time. What's yours?
Both boxers, Loyiso, are very talented. Both boxers are good. I think there's going to be a lot of fire there. With Kuse coming from my stable, he grew directly. At 10 years, he was under my wing. So I am not going to say he's no longer there now. And I think that one is going to be 50-50. But with Kuse's amateur pedigree, once more, I think that one will also talk for him. He went the same route as Azinga Fuzile.
Yes.
Commonwealth Games in Bahamas, what was his last outing as an amateur. So once a champion, always a champion. I'm answering again, Loyiso, that question that says, once a boxer becomes a South African champion or a well-builter in amateur, then I say once a champion, always. And 99% of boxers who come from amateur being champions, they get that championship blood from there.
Fido. Kuse, you were a southpaw. He was a former professional boxer and a bantamweight, and he was a southpaw. I was a southpaw myself, and Kuse is a southpaw. What is your take on this?
Hey, when I look around, before I comment about the fight, there's a lot of southpaws, especially that are coming from the amateur ranks. But with this one specifically, I think the more hungry person here is Kuse. Because of that determination and hunger, I believe that Kuse is going to defend his title. And also looking at him, because his last fight was against Kalama in December. You look at these boys and the gap that they have, because there's what we call in boxing ring rusty. When somebody stayed for almost more than a year without fighting, it takes a long time for him to regain his confidence. But with Kuse, who had last fought in December and now he's back in the ring, I think I go for him.
One thing we should know about Kuse is that he's been through rehabilitation for drug abuse. And now after coming out of that, I don't know whether it is a mental strength or it is a mental weakness. But what we know about it is that he was abusing drugs, and when he joined Mlandeli Tengfene, who has like taken it up to himself now to collect all these boys who have abuse problems. He takes them to rehabilitation, and he also takes them, a lot of them, to his house, and he stays with them. And they actually do listen to him. Kuse now came back after losing his title to Nyangani, and now I think when you talked about strength, I think he was mentally strong enough to actually beat Nyangani, who had beaten him before, to take his title. He regained his title in a very, very good fight.
Spectacular one.
That showed a lot of his skills, a lot of his strength, a lot of his determination, and a lot of everything. And after that, he has won 2 fights, which shows that I'm not talking now as an expert, or I'm not talking scientifically, but I'm just saying he's clean. He is fighting very cleanly. He's got the skills. He's got a lot of skills. He's a southpaw. He knows how to fight his style, his angles, his punches as a southpaw. He enjoys what he's doing. I've trained both boys. Now, I must come out. I've trained Kuse, I've trained Nyangani, and I know that Kuse is going to come there enjoying the fight. He fights with a smile. Yeah, I think that's sadistic. He fights with a smile, yet he's really brutalizing his opponent. And he's very skilled. He's very determined. And I think after he's been through this rehabilitation, he has decided that his life has changed. And that is a very good reason to actually say he's a role model to upcoming stars, that whatever the situation, this thing can happen. Then there is Sobolo. I know Sobolo. He's coming there with a big heart. He's coming there with determination. He's coming there. I've seen them spar together, and I've seen those sparring sessions being war zones within the ring, in the gym. I'm not going to come out and say who's going to win, but I'm going to come out and say people are in for a very, very good fight there. Now, there is Baji. There is Paliso. That is another fight I'm taking. You've seen both fight?
I've seen both of them
Yes.
as amateurs, though they have not, they didn't make it as
Yes.
compared to the other two that we've spoken
Didn't
about.
become amateur stars.
Yes,
Yes.
they didn't become amateur stars. Commitment from the side of Baji. Baji is very, very, very committed. He's hard. He's doing hard training every day.
Yes.
Fortunately, he has joined a manager now who's also like very, very, very good in training, physically. Babes in what's that place?
In Dodra.
In Somerset.
In Somerset, yes. And yes, he's been doing a very good job with
You know,
boys
the
who have
boy
just joined him.
The boy stays in Ngahuni,
Yes.
next to Danzani. He used to come from Ngahuni roadway to NU7, where he started boxing.
Yes.
Pilani Boxing Club.
Yes.
He was young. He would run to the gym and go back to Ngahuni again. At one stage, people said, this boy, I always see him running like this in a very, very hot day. What's happening? Why don't you assist him get some money to take a taxi to the gym? Hey. But the boy survived and got to professional boxing. He was second in amateur, he was second to King.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he used to lose to King.
The South African feather.
Yes, nationally as well. He used to lose to King. King becomes a national champion. He becomes a second to King. So he's very, very powerful. He works very hard worker. Not very skilled. I must be open. He's just working hard. He bangs that stomach. He bangs every, with Paliso as well, he was with Chief Nai. He started with Chief in Tanen village. Went
Chief Njekanye,
Nje-
one
Chief
of our
Njekanye.
best
Yeah,
developers.
he went to
Yes.
he went to Nguni's stable, and then from Nguni to this current one now, I think. So Nai is a hard worker, but I want to congratulate Umla for having put him in the position where he is now.
Vito, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know both boys. You've heard the description of Baki, exactly the way I know him. Baki is brutal. When he gets into that ring, he's a seek and destroy fighter. Now he's fighting Paliso. Paliso is tall. Baki is not very skilled, but he wins his fights by actually taking the fight to you. So if you don't have the heart, if you don't have the durability, Baki is going to grind you down. Then we've got Paliso. Paliso has height, not very skilled himself, but fights according to the basics. But why I'm saying he's not very skilled is that, tall as he is, he's not able to keep his opponents at bay where he is at home. And not because he doesn't try, but it looks like he's not able to. But one thing that Paliso has, he has got that one punch knockout power. He doesn't have to knock you out, doesn't have to score 2 punches, 3 punches, 4 punches. He goes with just one. One and you're gone. Now I'm putting you on the spot now. Here is one who is going to be coming forward, and you can catch him with anything that you like as he comes in, but he's going to walk you down. He's going to test your stamina. He's going to test your durability. He's going to test your heart. And then here is one who has got the firepower to stop you on your tracks, drop you down and even unconscious with one punch. That makes for a very good fight. But who do you think would come? That's the spot I'm putting you. Who's not doing that fight?
I think, Doc, you have said it already. You know, in boxing, the one who is having a big punch, you can do everything in the ring as a skillful boxer. But there is no way whereby you can be 100% defensive the whole 12 rounds. The mistake you do, he caught you with that big right, you fall down and the fight is over. But in this one, I know you are like protecting your asset when you defend your title. You don't go there and say, I will do this and that and that and that. There are things that you prepare in the gym that doesn't become applicable in the ring, whereby your natural talent must come out on your own without being told on the corner. I'm not encouraging boxers not to apply or execute what they have been told. In this fight, I think I'm crossing fingers and I'm saying the best boxer will win.
Yeah, now you're chickening out. Now that's chickening out. Because always the best boxer wins.
Yeah, the best
Anybody can say that. No, that's chickening. Okay, now we come to another fight. Another fight that has got history, and another fight that the fighter is with Mlandi Retained himself. He has had his own demons, though his own demons were not drug abuse and all of that. They were personal demons. Kira, Nhlanhla Kira. Nhlanhla Kira was like, he was like coming from the stars. He was beating everybody. He was so good. In fact, people were always talking about a fight that hasn't yet happened, saying, what if that fight happened? Kira versus the reigning IBF world champion, Sivianati Nonchinga. Nonchinga is a champion. I understand you will know that. They have fought in the amateurs. I don't know how many times they fought, who's won, who's beaten who. And yes, they came to the pros and they didn't fight. But what happened was, Kira being a southpaw, made a mortal mistake that a southpaw doesn't make. As a southpaw, you do not duck, bend your body, walk to your left, because you are going to come against a right hand. That's exactly what Kika did. He came out of a combination, threw a combination, and then after throwing that combination, he went to this side. And that guy, maybe that guy was watching him, maybe that guy had been seeing it all the time. That's a southpaw. Southpaw shouldn't be doing that. Yes.
And he did it with precision.
He did it diligently, and he paid the price. He was knocked out clean. Now he's fighting against the same guy. The same guy that knocked him out. Now, question is, does he know the mistake he made? And is he going to correct that mistake? Or is he just going to be training normally again and fight normally again, not fight the way he's supposed to be fighting as a southpaw? Reports that I've heard from the gym is that yes. He's very fit, he's preparing. We've heard that story every day, but the main thing now with him is
Okay.
get to the mental side of his, and please don't chicken. Is he going to go there and fight 100%, or is he going to be scared every time that guy says right hand?
I'm sorry to be this cheater that you are. I talk what I think. I talk my belief, what I believe.
Don't be Steve Biko now.
Yeah. And that Steve Biko was arrested in this month.
This month.
Yeah, this month on his way with Cecil Rhodes on his way to an illegal meeting, as it was named by the system then. Doc, I believe skeptical about this fight, in as much as I'm optimistic about Kira, because what I heard is that this guy was preparing for another fight.
Yes.
This Kundol.
Yes.
And when this tournament, it appeared that it was cancelled, and then they said, here is Kira. He just said, bring him.
Here's your ticket.
He just said, bring him. I'm not sure, because in the process, you need to build your mental strength, especially when you are in a process of reviving your boxing career. Yeah. Because when I remember that fight, when he was stopped in the 6th round, he was ahead on points. And then, to me, what he need to do, forget about the previous fight that you lost. Fight as if you are fighting this boy. Kira, fight as if you are fighting this boy for the first time. Go there and do what you are required to do when you fight against an orthodox, being a southpaw. Don't always remember what you did, the mistake you did. That you sleep on this side. Because sometimes you can sleep on this side when the opponent is not ready to throw that right.
Yes.
You see. A mental strength, it needs to be built, and I think it has been done already as to now, because there's no time that you can build a boxer psychologically 3 days before the fight. And Kira, I go for him because of his pedigree.
Now you talked like a boxing expert, and you come out and put your gloves on the table. You're doing cheating now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Now, there's too many tools.
Wow.
If you talk about a boxing prospect video, you talk about Kumani Tunzi. And his last fight that he won by a knockout, it was everything that you can expect from what you would call a war. The boxing ring being a war zone.
Yes.
That's where Kumani Tunzi was. But he came back after having been hurt and staggered and all over and beaten all over the ring. he came back and won the Eastern Cape title by knockout. He is raw. He is brutal. He is arrogant. Because I believe that if you are able, do you call my opponent the ugly place while you are fighting, that's arrogant. You don't care whether he gets angry with this or not, but I'm still going to give you a beating up, you won't forget. And I know he is not the main bout there, he's one of the bouts. But I know a lot of people are coming there to see Kumani Tunzi. Now, the key now to the fight is who he is fighting. He's fighting an experienced J. Call of the ring, a southpaw, Aphiwe Mboyiya, a former South African champion. He's been there. He's fought the best. Yes, he doesn't have a big punch, but he can make you clutch at straws right through the fight and beat you on points. I don't know what's going to fight in that fight. What's going to happen is that it's going to be Kuma Tunzi's power determination against Mboyiya's fighting skills, southpaw fighting skills. And what do you think you do?
Both are southpaws, brother.
Both are southpaws.
It's a battle of
Yes.
and the disadvantage with Mboyiya is from a long layoff.
Yes.
Kumani is very youthful, very brutal,
Very ecstatic.
coming forward all the time.
He loves what he's
He
doing.
doesn't give you a break. Throughout his life, Mboyiya never wanted that. Never liked pressure.
Pressure.
I'm afraid Kumani, I give him because of his never ending attack. So I don't see Mboyiya taking that kind of pressure. I'm afraid he may be having all this technical and whatever of the ring, ne? But that pressure doesn't allow you. I've seen a lot of boxers, international and here, that do not, that are very good, you know, like hands and versus who's this guy? Knocked him twice.
Marvin Hagler.
He was knocked twice by Aluka Mani.
Iran
Buckley.
Buckley. Yes.
So I see it. He fight is Omni Noko is good at angles and stuff, but if this person is always here, you are not always going to win.
So when they are taken to the deep sea, and then it said, okay, let us swim back. They cannot swim back. They struggle there.
They do.
And they get beaten.
You see, Doc, what I like about this tournament is not a winner takes all. It's not what we normally call here in Tanzania, East London, umnyolo. There's no such in this tournament. Is umngocho, stuff like that.
Yes.
There's no such in this tournament.
Yes.
We are all on toes. We'll be sitting at the edge of our seats in every bout in that tournament. Even this one of Azinga Fuzil. The guy won his last fight on a technical knockout. And that's why I'm saying it's not a winner takes all. Even some of our guys, because here in Islam we like soft targets. When we revive our boxers' career, when somebody was on layoff for a while because of different reasons. But in this one, all the opponents are spot on. It's going to make this tournament on the 25th very, very, very electrifying.
And then we have Abongile Jacob versus Luyanda Nkwangwa. I don't know Abongile Jacob. He's new. I think he's just turned pro. He's new. I know Nkwangwa. Nkwangwa has been there for as long as boxing has been. He can fight. He's got a very, very high work rate. He's a southpaw. His only problem is that he's in and out of the ring. That's number one. Number two, he's almost in every province. I don't know. He's been into East London, he's been to Cape Town, he's been all over. And yes, truth of the matter is that that does not make for a success in the boxing ring. Jacob is with Velile Damoy, one of our best up-and-coming trainers, one of our best developers, developing them from the amateurs, a former professional boxer himself. I think this is going to be interesting because it's going to be Jacob's skills as an amateur, his youth, his power, against Nkwangwa's experience. And don't underestimate his work rate.
Yes, again, this is a battle of southpaws.
Yes.
Jacob is a southpaw, Nkwangwa is a southpaw, and Nkwangwa is thinner. Jacobs is bigger and is taller than Nkwangwa. Nkwangwa has been there, as Bralois is saying, has been there in the trade, and I think he's gonna get his match with Jacobs as well, because Jacobs is very focused. He has been a South African champion in amateur ranks as well. He has been tested in the national team as well during the time of Nyanganis and Bandla. During the time of Bandla.
Yes.
He was there in the team. He gave way for Bandla because they were in the same division, same province, same everything. So he concentrated on his studies and stuff. So he came back. Now he has got a few fights. He's just turned professional, and he has beaten good boxers as well. So I think this one as well is going to be one of his victims.
Well, that is the last of the bouts that we had to talk about. And as we say, it's back to the Orient Theatre, the theatre of blood, sweat, and tears. You've heard of the bouts, evenly matched bouts. Everybody who loves boxing, who say boxing is my sport, is going to have to be there. And we will have to, they sing, they dance, they ululate as the boxers do their thing in the ring. The main fight, the return of our golden boy, Azinga Fuzile, against Sebastian Nathaniel from Namibia. People who have seen Namibian boxers fight, people who know Namibians, they don't come to forward. They come to fight. Let's see you on the 25th of August at the Orient Theatre, courtesy of Lastborn Promotions and KB Promotions, Sijimela Londo. My name is still Loyiso. Thank you.
Fresh, my fucking fresh. Dash, dash.